Hey, what's happening? Happy Sunday to everybody. It's Daryl here. It is not so bright and early anymore. It's 7 a.m. here in Connecticut on the East Coast. Okay, I don't know if the correct word is prolific or I'm motivated today. This is going to be the third video that I've made this morning. I've got a lot of motivation, let's just say, this morning. Okay, this is about I believe it's three videos that were taken, a vest cam and two other videos of aliens, reports of extraterrestrials, very tall extraterrestrials in Las Vegas. This allegedly happened, I believe it was in about a month ago, in May. I'm not sure if it was March or May. It was a couple months ago, but it's been getting a lot of traction. It's going to be getting a lot of talk lately. There's a lot of reports. There's another story that's coming out about a whistleblower high up in the Defense Department, very high up, that is adamant that it's a fact that there are programs that we are reverse engineering several crashed or landed non-human extraterrestrial vehicles. He says he's got the evidence. I don't think he's shown it yet. And then there's the U.S. government pretty much coming right out and saying, that it's a real thing. All right, I want to talk about this a little bit. Like I said, this happened in Las Vegas I believe it was a month ago. I get it mixed up. I don't know if it was March or May. I think it was May. Maybe it was March. It was a couple of months ago. All right, and this family in Las Vegas allegedly came across 8 to 9 foot tall extraterrestrials in their backyard. And they called the police, and the police showed up. The police actually, they looked nervous. You don't see them really, but they sounded somewhat nervous to me. Then there is the third video is actually a vest cam. One of the police that actually before they were called to the location, something coming out of the sky and crashing. So this looks, man, I don't know how I feel about this. I'm a little scared. I'm a little psyched. It looks very legitimate to me. Let me talk all about this. Let me start. Like I said, I'll describe. There's three basic videos. The vest cam one. There's the one where the policeman shows up and he kind of shines his flashlight around and talks with the family that found it. And then the third video, I think it's the infamous back fence video. And it's got the video I saw. The link will be right down below. It's a link to the Twitter video. And they slow it down several times. And I believe it's a couple of the family backing out of the fence in the backyard. And in front of them, in the darkened backyard, I don't see anything. They slow it down several times. And then they really emphasize on a piece of the fence that's to the right and down. And it looks like there's a shadow moving on the other side of the fence. I've watched this several times. I looked in the comments, and some people believe they saw the two tall extraterrestrials. I didn't see anything. All right, let me talk about this. There's not really much evidence with this. To me, the biggest piece of this, the biggest evidence is the vest cam. When I watched that, I read the comments underneath it too. Like I said, the link will be down below for Twitter, so you can actually read the comments I'm talking about. And some of the people say, well, that just looks like a flare to me or something like that. And this, if you stop frame it, if you take a screenshot, it's funny because it might look like a flare, but when you actually watch the video, the high def video of it coming down, it looks like a bluish white object twisting and turning on the way down. To me, I can actually see like a straight edge to it at one point as it's coming down. And the color of it is bizarre, to say the least. It looks like a high energy, like an electric whitish blue. You can't tell the size of it. To me, that's the biggest evidence of all. Like I said, with the infamous or famous, but soon to be famous, back fence video. You can't really see that much. I can't see that much. And okay, now the third video where the policeman actually shows up, and it's his vest cam, and he's interacting with the family. And he's kind of joking around. And if I were to describe what I think, you could hear his voice. If I could describe his demeanor, he says the reason he's there mostly is because his partner's best cam caught the object coming down the sky, and that's, in other words, like he doesn't, he hears a lot of bizarre stuff, and he doesn't really, he probably wouldn't have showed up if it was just a family saying they saw 9-foot aliens. But because his partner said that, well, that's why he believes it now. And he showed up, and to me, he sounds nervous. I detect, or maybe even scared. He kids around about a cat. He's joking around, but to me, he's covering up a little bit of fear. I guarantee if there was a loud noise or anything right at that moment, this guy would have jumped out of his skin. So this whole thing, it looks legit to me. One of the things I thought about too. Okay, I believe it. I do. When I'm watching the family talk, I believe the family speaks Spanish. I heard some English, and I think some of it was in Spanish. But when I watch the family talk and listen to them talk and describe this, it's bizarre. But I get the feeling they're being completely honest. I do. I thought about this too. If they were going to make something up, okay, why would they say 9-foot aliens? To me, that's not the way. I'm just thinking if somebody was going to make something up, because that's not the most common picture you get. Little green men. And if you say that they're 9 feet, then where did they go? These huge things. Why didn't any? It's if somebody was going to make something up, I don't think they would say 2 9-foot aliens. And then too, okay, the backyard, the back fence video, I'm just saying, I don't think they made it up, but if they did, I think it would have been a little more, they would have shown a little more something about that back fence video than what they show. It just, to me, it does not smell of a phony video. It looks legit to me, which really it almost gives me a little anxiety. It kind of freaks me out. Imagine 9-foot, non-human beings. Okay, now the reason I believe this is, let me get into this. I have always loved physics. Here's some of the books, 50 Physics Ideas. I love reading this stuff. I don't know how to say this guy's name, Michio Kaku. I'm terrible with names, if you guys don't realize that already. And I've got like 3 of his books. I know they're backwards, but this one's, I love this guy. I can't get enough of his stuff. And he describes a lot of stuff, a lot of different theories in there. Now, this is one of the things, I've asked this question ever since I was a kid, ever since I could ever remember, since I was taking science back in elementary school. This was the big, I probably talked about this before. I had this question and I never got an answer on it. If you look up, you go straight up, where do you end up? If you go forever straight up, where do you end up? You just keep going in a straight line up. I asked this ever since I could remember, since I was a little kid. And I always got a pat answer. Well, you go forever, and that's just, and that just ticks me off. It was no answer. This really bothered me. It still bothers me to this day. What do you mean forever? The human mind, we can't comprehend. Nothing we know is forever. It's incomprehensible to the, is that a word? Incomprehensible? To the human mind. I started thinking, well, what if it's a balloon or, then what's on the outside of it? If it's a circle, what's on the inside? What's on the outside? The human mind just cannot understand infinite. I think pi, the number pi, is, I don't know if that's considered infinite. It's non-repeating. But this ever since I could remember being a young kid. So okay, if it is infinite, what does that mean? That means that there is infinite possibilities. That means anything you can imagine can and does exist. There could be dragons. There could be multiple dimensions. If space goes on for infinity, there pretty much has to be infinite life forms. And I don't want to get all too deep into God and all that stuff, but that kind of figures into my whole thing about, you know, like different dimensions, ultimate good, ultimate evil, just like there's positive and negative. This is the thing. I think we know so little in the whole scheme of things. Like, it wasn't too long ago that we thought the world was flat. I heard this good description once of like a small little pond, and there's fish, you know, swimming in this little small pond. And to those fish, that pond is their, you know, inside that pond is their entire world. They have no idea, you know, I'm just imagining what fish think, but, you know, they have no idea that there's no other ponds with other fish. They can't, you know, they have no idea that there's an ocean with other fish, or that this whole, you know, everything that exists outside what they can see in their little pond. I thought it was a good analogy, I guess you'd say. You know, we are the little fish in the little pond, you know, and there's so much that we don't understand. I've heard some other good things, good examples, and I've read some good articles about space, and especially time, and our understanding of time, and how we understand time in a linear fashion, you know, past and future. And there's the possibility that everything is happening all at once, all at the same time, everywhere, just like the title of that movie. And, you know, it's just another thing that's very hard to wrap your mind around. I thought about no time and the Bible. I remember reading the Bible. I was in rehab, and a priest would come in. I was in it was a detox, and I had this question because in somewhere in the Bible I read that in heaven, I forgot who it was. They talked about a period of a few minutes. And I asked the priest, I said, well, in heaven, there is no such thing as a few minutes. You know, time doesn't exist in heaven. And he had no answer for that. He told me, he said, well, what? Maybe you should spend that time reading and thinking more about I forget the 12 steps or something like that. He kind of got angry when I kind of caught him on that, because it says this in the Bible. It talks about a few minutes in heaven, and it's like there's no time in heaven. Anyway, these are just a few of my thoughts about. I completely believe that there is. I think there's multiple dimensions. I think it's more than likely too that this might not be from other planets, but other dimensions or other timelines, where these beings, these 9-foot beings, could come from, because it's so hard to travel these large distances. But I could go on talking about this forever. I think there's the thing called the Akubari Drive, where the spaceship rides on a wave. As you can see, like I said, I could talk about this forever. The links will be down below, so you can see these 3 videos. I'm sorry if I babbled. I love this stuff. Let me know what you think. Have a good Sunday.